You guys are watching Squid Game.
Yeah.
I don't know what's wrong with you people. Something ain't right.
It's a disturbing show, Donna. We've said that the whole time. It is disturbing and a compelling storyline.
Okay.
It's interesting.
And you're 5 episodes in or so?
Like about it. Yeah, we've started 5. My parents are in town this week, so I'm not going to be able to watch it again until Thursday night. So I got a couple more nights. I just can't. I got to be a host.
Yep.
I can't be like, hey guys,
they don't want to see
Your
that.
parents aren't into Korean shows where people get point blank bullets to the head if they can't carve a cookie right.
Not when you put it that way. When you put it that way, not really. Okay. I guess. Yeah.
Right.
Boy, wouldn't that amplify the stakes for like the Great British Bake Off?
Yeah.
You guys, you might be experiencing this show in a way that it is not intended. Okay, because there is a woman, I watched her whole video. She is fluent in Korean, and she says that the English subtitles on Squid Game are terrible, and they totally change the show.
They're actually getting worse as the shows go on.
Really?
Too. That's what I've noticed.
Okay, so I don't know. I'm assuming that this is true of the actual English translation. If you're watching it that way, that's how I watched the first episode. You know, not with subtitles.
Right.
I watched it just listening to the
dub.
English
Right.
dub. Yes. The problem is, so this woman, her name is Youngmi Mayer, and she's fluent in Korean, like I said, and she is basically saying that the translators blew it big time. She said, if you don't understand Korean, you didn't really watch the same show because the translation was so bad. The dialogue was written so well, and zero of it is being preserved in the translation. For example, like somebody would say, there's a woman who I guess is like a gang member on the show.
Yep.
And she looks at someone and the translation says, go away.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't say anything close to go away. She said something like, what are you looking at?
Oh, right. Okay.
You know, and she says it seems arbitrary, but it's not.
And you got to assume this isn't like a new phenomenon. I bet you all the translations from English speaking movies to other countries are kind of slapdash.
Yeah.
It's like how there are weird translations we'll hear of movie titles around the world when translated, and it never quite lives up. But here's the interesting thing. So I'm listening with the English dub, so the overacting English voiceover and subtitles. They're on at the same time. So Rocco's just watching it in Korean with subtitles. I think that maybe if you do what I'm doing, listen to the English dub and have the subtitles on, you hear both of those, because there are times when it says go away, and instead the voiceover artist will say, what are you looking at? Or something like that, where it is generally the same tone, but it's not the same dialogue.
Right. But what this woman is saying is that you don't understand how important that is, because there are things about this character that are important to know. And the dialogue is important in getting that message out. Here, I'll let her tell you.
Yeah,
she actually takes different scenes and describes what it should be.
Hi everyone, I just watched Squid Game and I'm fluent in Korean and I had the English subtitles on and I noticed that you're missing so much from the English subtitles. I want to start with Minya. Her dialogue constantly gets botched. I think it's because she's plays like a low class character and she's a gangster. Even things that aren't even that bad, like she says what are you looking at? It's turned into go away, which might seem arbitrary, but everything she says is not really aligning, and so you're missing a lot of this character and what she stands for. But here's the one part that I think is a huge miss. Here she is trying to convince people to play the game with her, right? Right here. The translation says, oh, I'm not a genius, but I can work it out. What she actually said was, I am very smart. I just never got a chance to study. That is a huge trope in Korean media. The poor person that's smart and clever and just isn't wealthy. That's a huge part of her character.
Interesting.
So she's got a lot of these. I put the link in, but the link, Steve, has a lot of F-bombs in it.
Sure.
But I think you should take a look at it yourself and so you can get her point.
Yeah, well, like I said, I wonder if I'm actually hearing this the other way around, though, because when the English dub and the subtitles don't line up all the time, especially episode Rocco. You should do an episode with English. Like do episode 4 with English and the subtitles on. There's a whole lot of it that does not connect. There's a point where I believe that same character is trying to flirt with a guy, and he keeps saying like, "Oh, come on, babe," is what the translation says. But instead, she just keeps calling him sir. And so you keep hearing like this sort of like "Oh, I love you, sir. Sir, look over here." And then her English dub is saying babe. That's a weird example, but it's different. Yeah. I will say this though, and I'm sure there is a richness that we might be missing out on, which is probably the case with all sorts of translated movies. That being said, a point blank bullet is understandable in all languages. And so I think some of the main thematic things there's again, a richness I'm sure we're missing out on, and it is comical to see the difference between the English dubbed voiceover versus the subtitle. So Rocco, do that. Yes. I want your thoughts on episode 4.
And I also think, I bet you they need to shorten up the count when they're trying to fit all the words on the screen for a subtitle. You know, they don't want you reading, 3 pages worth of words for a sentence. You know, they need to kind of shorten it down to what can be put on the screen.
Just like you want the voiceover, the dub, to only be talking as long as that person's mouth is open. You're trying to avoid as much of like the old school Godzilla problems as you can, where it's like there's talking and none of it's matching up at all. So I wonder if they have to truncate some speech there as well, because something said in Korean takes longer to say in English, or vice versa.
Well, she thinks it's because that what does she say, that their underpaid translators are very underpaid and their art isn't appreciated. Something to that effect.
Maybe that'll change as more Korean art makes its way to the world. It's just going all around the globe. We saw that at the Oscars a couple of years ago with Korean movie, won an Oscar.
Parasite. Yeah.
Thanks so much for watching our hilarious videos. You loved them.
If you would hit like and subscribe, we'll do something really great for you. Like, I don't know, give you a great big high five after the pandemic.